Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So I want to talk to you about discus fish and why over the last year I've sort of gotten into this fish a little bit more, and why I'm going to sort of get out of that a little bit. Not that I'm getting rid of my discus fish, but I'm going to be concentrating a little bit more on content that is related to the more typical types of fish in the hobby. Again, I love discus fish, and I've had a great time indulging in that particular type of fish over the last year or so. I've really kind of gotten away and strayed away from what the intention of this channel was, and that is to bring you content that gives you an opportunity to see the hobby in a complete way, and give you an opportunity to see me doing different kinds of content here. The focus has been mainly on discus fish, and we will not get away from that 100%, but what we're going to do is try to emphasize a little bit more of the hobby as far as the typical everyday fish that most people would be keeping. We're going to do a lot more species profiles. We're going to be doing a little bit more on scaping and setting up tanks for average people. I had some beautiful, absolutely beautiful tanks in my gallery here that I don't even show anymore. They're absolutely gorgeous. And we're going to talk a little bit more about getting into those kinds of tanks where we have a variety of species and less focus on the discus fish. Again, I'm not getting away from discus fish 100% or anything like that. I will be talking about them occasionally, but I want to get back to the true roots of this channel, and that is to give you guys content that helps you to understand how to set up an aquarium, how to maintain aquariums, how to stock an aquarium, what types of fish go with what types of fish, theme type aquariums, meaning fish that come from a particular area. I'm not a person that likes to set up a tank that is not a true tank to the area in which I am focusing on. So in other words, if I'm doing a South American tank, I like to stick with South American fish. I don't like mixing fish from all over the world in a tank. Sometimes that can be fun, it can be very beautiful in some ways, but I sort of like the natural habitat of fish that are going to be found together. That's the kind of thing that I used to do all the time, and I've gotten away from that a little bit. Now with discus fish, of course, there's only so many kinds of fish that you can put in with those guys and make it work, so that hasn't been that hard to do. But I want to get back to some of the basics. Like I said, would like to talk a little bit more and put some emphasis on the hobby itself, and talk about filtration, talk about CO2, whether or not I think that's something that's necessary or not necessary. I have done some amazing things without CO2, and I've done some fun things with CO2, so there's a place for both. But we'll talk about that a little bit. Talk a little bit more about water changes, how often you should be doing those, and talking about plants, how using plants can really help keep your tanks much cleaner with less water changes and those kinds of things, so maintenance is lower, not as much algae in a tank, those kinds of things. Using fish for the purpose of keeping your tank very well balanced. There's a lot of opportunities for us to talk about those kinds of things as well. So we'll be emphasizing that a little bit more over the next weeks and months, and just getting back to some of the basics here. Now, for those of you who follow me just for discus fish, as I said, I'm not going to be getting away from that topic. I'm just going to be making less videos about them, simply because I want to branch out and get back to the roots of the channel, as I said earlier, and give people a little bit more of a chance to see me work with other types of fish that are going to be a little bit more interesting. I think it gets boring, and I think people have kind of told me this in the Facebook segment of my hobby here. I hear from a lot of people that they want to know more about other things than just discus fish, obviously. So probably in the next week or two, we're going to be doing some scaping on video here, and I'm setting up a whole new studio where I'm going to be able to make those kinds of things happen, where we'll be able to scape tanks together. We'll talk about stocking those tanks, we'll talk about substrate, we'll talk about water parameters, we'll talk about plants, all kinds of things that we're going to get into here, and sort of back off the discus fish a little bit and make the channel a little bit more rounded for those of you who are looking for something other than discus fish. Not everybody keeps discus fish, and I understand that, and I've heard what you're telling me, and we're going to get back to the basics a little bit here and make sure that we are filling the needs of everybody who watches this channel, and hopefully expand on it a little bit. I'm not going to be MD Fish, I'm not going to be Green Aqua, I'm not going to be James Finley, I'm not going to be George Farmer. I never set out or intended to be those people, but I think that the success of this channel's future is to branch out a little bit and to be a little bit more willing to get into these other areas. Not that I'm not comfortable in those areas, because I am. That's where my start on this channel was. And for example, epistogrammas, ram cichlids, all kinds of different kinds of cichlids, tetras of all kinds and varieties. I'd love to touch on these things a little bit more and build some really interesting tanks that are going to make you guys really want to come back and look at the channel, and to give it a little bit more diversity and an opportunity for us to branch out, like I said. So thank you for all of you who have been following the channel. I hope you'll give me a like on this one and subscribe to the channel. As I said, there's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming up here, and we're going to do a good job of fulfilling some of those requests that have been made to me on my Facebook page about bringing more diversity to the channel as far as fish and content and that kind of thing. And I laid out some of that to you. I don't want to go over it again and bore you, but we will be diving into those things in the weeks and months to come. As I said, I'm not getting away from discus fish. I absolutely love the discus fish and the fun that I've had with that, but I want to branch out again and show you more of the other tanks that I have, and show you how to expand your horizons as well. If you're keeping discus fish, maybe you're loving those fish, but you're also wanting to get into other fish. And again, I want to do the same thing. There are other centerpiece fish that are absolutely fun to play with. Angels, for example. I've wanted to always do a wild angel tank. I've never been able to seem to get myself into the groove of doing that. And again, fish right now are hard to get in the wild right now out of South America, because of some of the political strife that's going on in those parts of the world, and also because of the economic situation that we find ourselves in. So thank you guys for hanging in there with me and being loyal to my channel. I appreciate that. As I said, I have been listening to what you're telling me, and I am going to, for sure, make these changes that some of you have asked me to do, and like I said, fulfill some of the obligations, I think, as a channel that I need to do to make this channel a little bit more interesting. Again, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed and given me likes and has helped to grow this channel. We're going to grow it a lot more. We're going to do a lot more interesting things, and I really want to let you know that I've been listening to you and I appreciate you. So again, thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one, where we're going to be doing a little bit more interesting stuff that I think you guys are all going to enjoy, and we will, like I said, be expanding, and I hear what you're saying. We'll talk soon. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the next one.